Hey guys, it's Scott with Scotty B Cards. In this video, I want to look at Bowman chromatographs and talk about whether or not they are overpriced. Bowman chromatographs are the go-to investment for a lot of people of a player. They're usually the first rookie autograph, rookie quote unquote. It says first Bowman in the corner. They usually come out well before a player makes their debut. For example, Juan Soto had his in 2016. He debuted in 2018. Lindor had his in 2011. He debuted in 2015 and so forth. These Bowman chromatographs are when a player essentially is a prospect and they have photoshopped uniforms to match their big league club on. So some people don't like it for that reason, but a majority of the baseball card community likes Bowman chromatographs. One thing that's getting out of hand though is the price of basically these prospects who've never made to the big leagues. And I want to compare those to some established stars and some potential future Hall of Famers. So in this video, I believe I have 31 players that I have Bowman Chrome pricing for. I have all the stats on the page and I want to talk about whether or not specific players are overpriced or if they're priced correctly. Before we start though, if you're a sports card, trading card, baseball card fan, this is the channel for you. We post 2 to 3 times a week exclusively about this content. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. And if you wouldn't mind, please also like the video so it can get to other people as well. All right, so let's jump right into it. First thing, here are the first 6 players I'm going to be looking at. We have Albert Pujols, Justin Verlander, Christian Yelich, Manny Machado, Juan Soto, and Bobby Witt Jr., the I believe number 1 and number 2 prospect in all of baseball right now. We all know these players. I included all their stats down here, all their achievements. Albert Pujols is a 3-time MVP, 10 times All-Star, 2 Gold Gloves. You get the idea. I included all of these so I wouldn't have to ramble on too much about individual statistics. Either way though, I wanted to show the pricing. So let's first show Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols, his BGS 8.5 is worth $11,000. That is the last sale. I did the most recent sale for a specific player. I tried to use PSA 9s. If a player didn't have a PSA 9, I used the closest card to it. So BGS 8.5 was the closest for Pujols. Pujols is also a very specific circumstance because he does not have a base. He has basically just a refractor, and there's only 500 of them that exist, and there's rumored to be less of them than 500 in circulation. He's a special case that makes that card really expensive. But now let's show Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander, he has 72 WAR, so he's a Hall of Famer right now. He's an MVP, 2 Cy Youngs, World Series ring, Triple Crown, 3,000 strikeouts. Everything a pitcher needs to get to the Hall of Fame, he's there. So he's guaranteed to be in. His PSA 9 is worth $330. Not bad, really. If you want to go buy a Justin Verlander Bowman chromatograph, you're really not going to be set back all that much. Yes, he's a pitcher. Yes, he's not like the most dominant pitcher ever, but he is one of the best pitchers of our generation, or even of the last 30 years. So he does have value, but $330 seems pretty reasonable. Then we have Christian Yelich, a former MVP of yesterday or whatever it's been. He's been really good at times in his career and really bad in his career. Either way, for a former MVP with 33.4 WAR heading into his age 30 season, his cards are only $96 in a PSA 9. That's brutal. They were much, much, much higher after he won the MVP in 2018 and then was runner-up in 2019. He broke his kneecap and he has not been the same since. After him, we have Manny Machado. Manny Machado, he is a great player. He has a lot of negativity in regards to his personality and the way he acts. I think that's why his prices are so suppressed. But either way, his PSA 9 is $165. 45.2 WAR going into his age 29 season is rare. That's probably one of the best all time. And I say best all time, I mean there's 20,000 players that played Major League Baseball. That's the top 100 or 200 to this point. So that's pretty good. Overall though, if you want to get a PSA 9 Manny Machado Bowman chromatograph, it's $165. I actually bought that last one. So I thought it was a good deal. And after that, we have Juan Soto. Soto has all of the tools and potential to be a future Hall of Famer, and people are sure paying prices that they think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. His PSA 9 is $2,700. So you could either have a Soto or you could have basically, 9 Justin Verlanders. You can have 1 Soto or you could have 15 or so Manny Machados. It's one of those things where, yes, you're hopefully trying to capture the next Albert Pujols, but that's a lot of money. Next after that, we have Bobby Witt Jr. His PSA 9 is $655. This is a player, he needs to be at least 45 WAR at age 29 or have at least the tools to be considered the best of this generation or close to it to have his prices really maintain those values. A lot of these players, when they're young, their values stay up and hot. Look at Juan Soto. As they're in the league a while or they have one semi-down season, they tank. Look at Verlander. I know he hasn't pitched because of his Tommy John recovery, but there's no way you should be able to get 2 Verlander Verlander Bowman Chrome autographs to the price of a Bobby Witt Jr. Bowman Chrome autograph. And that's just something I think is kind of concerning, which is why I'm doing this whole exercise. Let's go to the next batch of sluggers and pitchers. So we have Zach Greinke, Mike Trout, Paul Goldschmidt, Francisco Lindor, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Anthony Volpe. All of these players are good. All of them have had major success, except for one. Anthony Volpe, I think he's only been to A+ ball in his career, and his cards are already selling for a good chunk of change. And we're going to compare them to these other 5 players. So let's look at Zach Greinke first. He does not have a Bowman Chrome autograph. You'll notice that right off the bat, this is the Future Gems. This is his Upper Deck autograph. It's the only autograph from 2002. He does not have a Bowman Chrome autograph. He has a Bowman Chrome base card and refractors, but it's easier just to compare autographs to autographs. Either way, you can see he's had a great career. A Cy Young, 6 Gold Gloves. He's had 2 Silver Sluggers, 6 All-Stars. He's had 73 WAR. He's close to 3,000 strikeouts. He could get that the next year or two if he continues to pitch. It will only cost you $177 in a PSA 9 to get his first autograph. Then we have Mike Trout. Mike Trout's always been in the GOAT conversation for the last since he debuted in 2012. Recently, I actually can see people having an argument against that just because he hasn't played the last 2 years. I still think he's really good and still in that conversation. He just needs to stay healthy, which has eluded him. Either way, his BGS 9 is $9,100. You may say that's overpriced, and it might be. I personally think that's a bargain compared to where it was before the last injury or two. I think it will drop a little bit lower, but I think Mike Trout's priced pretty well. And you compare him to the best player of this generation, our Ken Griffey Jr., our Mickey Mantle, who we look at least the average collector, makes sense. So you can't really say it's too high. Then you have Paul Goldschmidt. A very interesting case. He's played with the Diamondbacks and now the Cardinals. Diamondbacks never had a big fan following in regards to collectability for players. He debuted pretty old, I think at age 24. Usually a player to make the Hall of Fame has to debut around age 21 or 22. But regardless, if you want his Bowman Chrome autograph for a BGS 9.5, so better than a PSA 9, we're looking at $165. That's so cheap for Paul Goldschmidt. If you want a PSA 9, I think it's like 100 to 120, right around that range. Really inexpensive. And he might not make the Hall. He might make the Hall. He's really similar to John Olerud in my opinion. John Olerud has 58.5 WAR. He did not make it. But Paul Goldschmidt has a little bit better numbers, a little bit better accomplishments, and they could win a World Series over the next few years. And if he does, I think he could get there. But only $165. Then Lindor. Lindor's BGS 9 is $177. Lindor still has a ton of upside. I know he had a really bad year last year and in the shortened season, but he did have amazing defense. He still had 3 WAR last year, so he's still a good player. For $177, that still seems like a buy to me. Then you have Tatis. If you want to get a PSA 9 Tatis Bowman Chrome autograph, you're looking almost at $1,800. It's $1,750. And yes, he has tons of potential, but he also has tons of risk. He's been injury prone. I know his shoulder he had surgery on. It might not be the same, like Christian Yelich wasn't the same. I think he'll be fine. I really do. But there's still that risk where these other players don't really have it as much just because they've already established their careers. So you're paying a lot of money for a player who's really young just because you want him to be the next Mike Trout. But more likely than not, he's going to be the next Francisco Lindor. I think Tatis has better skills and tools than Lindor has in regards to his offensive potential. Lindor's a better defender. But overall, if you have 30 WAR by your age 27 season, that's really good. And if that happens to Tatis, that'll be an issue because he's already at 13.5. But my point is, you never know in baseball. Then you have Anthony Volpe, who is a prospect for the Yankees. This is his 2020 Bowman autograph, and it goes for $400. So you can get a Goldschmidt and a Lindor for less than a Volpe autograph, which is crazy because, again, he has not played above A-ball. After that, we have another list. There's a lot of big names on this one. First one is Joey Votto. Same situation as Zach Greinke. Doesn't have a Bowman Chrome autograph. This is his Bowman Signs of the Future autograph. It goes for $243 in a PSA 8. That's a very good price for a player who will make the Hall of Fame. I know he doesn't have a lot of the sexy numbers the average first baseman does, but a lot of the writers have basically said he's going in, and you can kind of predict Hall of Fame predictions off of that. Next up is Clayton Kershaw. This one makes sense to me, but it still seems too low. Only $1,000 for PSA 9 Kershaw, who's considered the best pitcher of our generation. 3 Cy Youngs, MVP, a Triple Crown. He's won a World Series now, 5 ERA titles, and so forth. That still seems like a good price. Then you have a Nolan Arenado. This one's low for me at PSA 9 at $270. I am relatively biased because I like Nolan Arenado as a Rockies fan, even though he's on the Cardinals. Bryce Harper, about to win a second MVP most likely, and I could see an argument for Soto and Tatis as well, but I think Harper, based off of what I see, and same thing with betting odds from Vegas and also from writers, I think he will win it. Not saying I think he should. I personally like Soto. But overall, 2 MVPs at age 28 going into his age 29 season for $750 in a BGS 9. Then you have Vlad. So Vlad, yes, he's had a great year last year, but he only had a 6.8 WAR season, which I think he can replicate for sure, but he's going into his age 23 season and he's at $1250. So he's more expensive than Clayton Kershaw, than Bryce Harper, than Nolan Arenado. You can get an Arenado and a Bryce Harper for less than a Guerrero Jr. And then you have Jason Dominguez, a player who has not had over an 800 OPS in the minor leagues so far, who's selling for $660. You're paying for pure speculation and prospecting. You are hoping that pays off, but most likely it will not. A lot of these minor leaguers aren't going to pay off. Let's go to the next group. So now we have Max Scherzer, Buster Posey, Aaron Judge, Carlos Correa, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Julio Rodriguez. This is the gold parallel of Kershaw's, in my opinion, best autograph. Rookie autograph doesn't have a Bowman Chrome autograph. So this one's a tough one to find, so I picked the gold to be safe. Either way, gold number to 50 of Scherzer's best tops on card autograph is $562. He's a Hall of Famer. He has 3,000 strikeouts, 3 Cy Youngs. You get the whole thing. He's a Hall of Famer. Buster Posey just announced his retirement, so I actually grabbed a card, the first sale before he announced that, because a lot of them sold just because of that, and they'll come back down to earth. And it was $374 for SGC 9. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. We don't need to get into that right now. Either way, fan favorite with potential. Aaron Judge, Yankees best player. He's also a fan favorite. He's only $355 for PSA 9. Carlos Correa, going into his age 27 season already with 34 WAR, with a World Series, 2 All-Star appearances with MVP potential, $199 for PSA 9. Then you have Acuna, who is hurt. He's had a great career, but who knows how an ACL injury will affect him. $2,000 for his PSA 9. You can get 10 Carlos Correas for one price of Acuna. I think most people would take that because they don't like the Astros, but you get my point. That's still a pretty crazy risk on a player like Acuna who's had injury at this point. Then lastly, I want to talk about Julio Rodriguez. Julio Rodriguez, I really believe in the kid. I think he's going to be good. I do. But $620 for PSA 9, when you consider the price of all these other players, I would take all of these guys myself because they're more proven. I'd rather have this gold any day over a base PSA 9 Julio Rodriguez autograph. I would take 3 Carlos Correa PSA 9 just because if he goes to the right team, those can go up. There's just so much more potential. And again, that's where we see these 2 young players are just a little bit overpriced. And the last group I want to talk about, we have Giancarlo Stanton, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shane Bieber, Luis Robert, Shohei Ohtani, and Wander Franco. Let's look at their prices. We have Stanton at $152. Kind of makes sense. He was a lot more valuable, and then he's had a few injury-prone seasons, but he still has a chance at 500 home runs, and if he can get to 55 worth for 500 home runs, I think he gets into the Hall of Fame, possibly. You have Freddie Freeman, who potentially could get there, and his BGS 9.5 sold for $1,250 after the World Series, with hype in there. Mookie Betts, his BGS 9 sold for $899. He has an MVP, 2 World Series, 4 Silver Sluggers, 50 WAR at age 28, heading into his age 29 season. He could get to 90 WAR. There's less than 100 players, 50 players all time who've done that, and Mookie Betts has that potential. Shane Bieber, $77 for PSA 9. Potentially the best young pitcher to invest in. Very cheap, heading into his age 27 season. Then you have Luis Robert. He's $500 for PSA 9. That's getting even more crazy to me. He's had 1 good half season, and he's heading into his age 24 season, and people are ready to pay an arm and a leg for this autograph. Kind of crazy. Shohei Ohtani, his PSA 9 surprised me, his pricing of $3,205. This is less hype and more potential, which I know is hype as well, but it's different when he's more of like a historical figure than like an average hyped up player. So that's still too expensive in my eyes, but it makes more sense than the other players. And the one that kind of made me want to do this list in the first place is Wander Franco. I really think he'll be a solid player with a floor of about 3 WAR every year, a ceiling of 10 WAR every year, depending on how he does. I don't think he'll be like better than Mike Trout or anything, but I think he'll be good. I thought the same exact thing about Carlos Correa, and that's been true as well. But Wander Franco, if you want to get a raw card, a raw Bowman Chrome autograph, you're paying over $1,000. So you can get a raw Wander Franco, a guy who's not proven whatsoever, or you can get a Mookie Betts, or you can basically get a Freddie Freeman for the same price. And I just want to talk about how if you are a long-term investor, be careful with this. If you're looking to buy and sell at the ideal time, buying these cards at these prices is fine. There's a lot more risk than there used to be. In the past, it used to be really easy to prospect. Now it's a little bit harder. But my point is just be careful, because if you aren't careful, you can lose a lot of money. If you hold this a little bit too long, someone is going to be left holding the bag, as a player like Manny Machado drops all the way down to $165 for PSA 9 when he was one of the most hyped up players in the leagues. So it's tough. I just wanted to show this and share my thoughts with you. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Do you think these prices are sustainable and make sense, or do you agree with me? They're a little bit absurd. Either way, thank you for watching. Other than that, I will catch you in the next video. See you guys.